All right. It's YouTube is taking few minutes to stream. We will start as soon as it starts streaming. Right? I think we are good to go. Let me post the YouTube link and then go back to our meeting notes. Okay, so good morning all. So today is Friday, 12 November 2021, and we are in plus the API provider meeting for IBMCloud. Please mention your names under the attending list. So yeah, we just made a lot of progress over the week or two, right? So I will just mention a few updates I have. Let's do CTL. Okay. Support. So, okay, so first one I just want to mention is that we have merged the depend. Okay, I think you guys are not still seeing my screen, right? I think I just stopped sharing my screen while.
I just want to.
Yeah. So
told you that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. It's back now.
I think just give me a minute. All right. So can you see my screen? The doc link.
Yep, I can see that.
Cool.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So we made, as I was mentioning, we did really made a lot of progress. First one, I'll just update you folks with the depend about changes what we made. We kind of enable depend about for making all the code changes. Like basically what it does is it will just look for go mod and then Docker file for any of the changes, and then it will kind of submit the PRs for if there are any changes. Like you can see here, it got checked 5 years back, and then it does a check once in a day. So yeah, at the moment I think we can see a lot of these PRs submitted by Dependabot, especially for updating some of these you can see some of these not saying yeah, this latest. Yeah, so I think I need to sorry. So yeah, so you can see some of these bump stuff, right? So these are all changes pushed by Dependabot. At the moment, like it's, as I mentioned, it is daily frequency. Frequency is daily, so I'm not sure whether we should really go for daily or I see bunch of updates very frequent, so we need to see whether we should really go for daily or probably weekly or something like that. So just to avoid flood of PRs. So that's something I need to take a look at it. But yeah, that's a good update. I think we don't need to enable or push any of these packages manually, right? So that's good support, I think. Okay, so another update, cluster CTL support. This got added late night yesterday. So there was an issue reported. I think it's back. Then probably I'll just open my PR. Okay. So yeah, this is the PR I submitted yesterday, and it got merged. What it really meant is now you can use cluster CTL command for deploying our cloud provider. Having that said, it's still not in a position that we can really use because I have pushed the changes to main branch, which supports beta 1 version of Cluster API, but unfortunately we don't really have beta 1 changes yet in our repository. What I'm planning to do is we're going to backport this PR for 1.0 and 0.4. So 0.4 is the branch release. They do support alpha V4, right? So if you, I think they should have updated in, so support matrix is not really updated, but anyway. So release.4 is the one which really supports V4, right? So that's the reason. So we should have also the changes merged into V4, I mean 0.4. Unfortunately, the automated cherry pick is not really working because I see some, conflict. So I think I need to submit the changes manually. So that I'll probably take care. So once we have changes in 0.4, so we can use clusterctl command for deploying controllers, and also the templates, but not yet also there for the templates, like for your workloads, right? So for that, we need to kind of push assets. Like here I see only infrastructure components, but we should also have the templates pushed here. So that's something I am planning to work on as well. So that once we have a proper release with the components, and then also followed by the templates get pushed here. And based on that, so once we have changes in cluster API 0.4, so then customer can, or anyone user can just kind of build or download latest version of cluster CTL from this particular release or branch, and then they can deploy the IBMCloud provider like any other provider. Like, so that's what the idea and plan for next couple of days. So any questions on anyone?
So about the bots, the dependency bots, will they just have daily checks for the dependencies and updating the maybe Go modules and open the PR manually? What if there's a breaking change in the dependency, and how it's going to handle it?
Good question. Yes, at the moment it does check daily. The good part is that it does create PR, but if there are conflict, any of our tests are going to fail, right? So mainly, whenever what I've seen is that, especially the comparison itself really fails. I think I can show you some examples for that. Here, what here? I think somewhere here, maybe. Here. Yeah, so you can see here, right? So the build itself failed because there were issue with the latest version updating. So there were some conflicts and then whatnot. So that time we just got the build failures and then whatnot. So that way we can. I think we are good in shape. At least, see, most of the time what really happens is like when we try changing the version. So especially if there are function signature changes or anything like that, in Golang build itself will fail. So that some of those changes will be taken care. For example, some of these like build issues are taken care. So because of there were some other issues, right? So yeah, I think that way I think we are okay. So but do you have any other specific use case where you see the problem, or in general? Emma, so do you have any specific cases you think this will not work?
No, just curious how it's going to handle it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think, I mean, that way I think we are good. So the more and more, we just need to ensure that our CI system is resilient enough to handle some of those cases. So if you think something is missing, feel free to add. So right now we kind of like running build and then make, and then we also kind of building image and then whatnot, right? So that ensures that at least the building part really works fine. And then even we have some of the unit test cases also. So the goal is like, we increase unit test cases as much as possible and then code coverage. So make sure that, whatever changes we're pushing, so ensure we just deliver the quality codes before breaking anything. So that's what the plan is. So so just feel free to just take a look at the content of the testing and then let me know in case if anything needs to be added or enhanced, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I think we already we might need another few alpha releases with including. So right now we have what alpha 1 only created. So I think we're gonna need one more or a couple of more alpha releases. So with all these fixes, then of course, like with all those templates, what I'm talking about. So I'll just spin up one other release with all the templates. So maybe another couple of alpha builds. We should aim for the GA build, so which is like 0.1.0, right? So that's something we need to also work on. So not at least in next couple of weeks, but definitely towards end of this year or early next year. So we should really GA 0.1. So that's something I'm focusing on. But yeah, so meanwhile, there are a lot of other tasks we need to take care. At least the documentation part is a big miss at the moment. So I don't see a whole lot of into it. And documentation for the user, that's something we need to fix. So probably I'll create some more tasks. Already we have a task created for a couple of years, so you can see documentation for metrics, and then but definitely we need more doc, right? So otherwise it is going to be really tough. So of course, like I have created one task for releasing the process documentation. That's something I'm working on. And also like we need to have overall documentation for the project, which is missing at the moment. So if someone wants to use like as an end user, so they don't really know how to use it because we don't really have steps for importing image, creating image, and then whatnot, right? So some of those things like, of course, there are few, some documentation is there, but we need to enhance like further. So how customers can import and then, images in VPC and then also in Power VS infrastructure and then whatnot. So some of those documents we need to ensure that we have in place before GA. Right. All right. So any questions there? All right, so this PR, I think it already merged, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, so this is another PR I have pushed basically for how do you pass API key. So that's something I have done. So so the API keys now will go inside the secret. So whatever API key you export, so that will be get stored in the secret, and then this is a secret is going to be used in the controller. Right? So you can see here. So this is the secret get mounted into your controller manager, and then that is how it will get mounted here. Yeah.
I think for the IAM authentication endpoint, we need to hide it. I don't think we need to let the user to provide the endpoint of IAM, right? So I know that's stuff we ended when we in development stage. So maybe it should be, yeah.
Yeah, so I agree. The only reason I just mentioned here is that if someone, like at least most of you folks are kind of like testing in staging area. So I'm just wondering if someone wants to test it in staging area, they can just override it here. So yeah, that's the main reason I just made it default here. So and then I'm not really overriding it anywhere. So, but yeah, I think just yeah, it's just the optional. So yeah, the only variable here is the API key. So yeah, so if someone wants to override and test it in staging, so that's the reason I'm just kept it here, so nothing else. Yeah, but yeah, I think in the future we need to think about it. Like, I also have another point on that. How do we kind of enable or allow, at least for the developers to kind of access the staging area and test it, right? So this is the only API at the moment here, but yeah, definitely, like your VPC endpoints or endpoints or any of those endpoints, how we can kind of override in the code. So there are approaches if taken care. I mean, in the different providers like AWS, they have a cluster spec. They have a few entries like service endpoints or whatever. So I think we need more time in terms of understanding that, and then probably have that in the code, and so that if someone wants to have their own endpoints like custom, not necessarily the staging endpoints. So if they want to have their own endpoints like virtual endpoints, if they want to have some private endpoints or something like that, so they can configure some of those things while creating the cluster itself. So that's something we more exploration. Okay, so any other questions? Yeah, so unfortunately, I kind of not really prepared for the demo, but I would like to give demo of at least two items. Like one is like demo for next meeting. Right? There is new. Okay, so just give me a minute. I have integrated build configuration for our project, so I just want to give that demo for all of you folks. This is very interesting concept or the deployment mechanism what most of the cluster API folks are using in the project. So this is really helpful, especially like if you have a local cluster kind sort of a cluster running, and then if you want to make some changes into your code, and then you don't really want to build everything manually and then test it, right? So it's really a pain. I understand, like it's really a big pain. Like let's say if you want to make some changes into cluster API repository itself, and then you also parallelly want to make some changes in your repository, and then you want to test it on the fly, right? So without any sort of making manual code building and then whatnot, so that it becomes really handy for developers. So I just made some changes. I mean, this is the file we need to have in all these cloud providers, and also like there's another settings we need to configure in this project and then in order to run. So I'll give that demo in the next meeting. So it will be really helpful for all of the folks, right? Tilt and cluster CTL is another topic I want to cover in the next call. So we will go through how cluster CTL can be used for deploying the controllers, at least. We'll start with controller deployment. Then, yeah, of course, we can extend to how to deploy the templates and all, right? So that's my plan for the next meeting, and then of course we can discuss. I mean, any other topics you want to discuss before we go ahead and discuss about the backlog?
Actually, I do have another question about enabling the beta V1 version of cluster CTL. Is there any, what would be the general timeline for that? Because I think a couple of things need to be done to prepare for that first, right? We need to really change our code.
Yes, I do have issue reported here, if I'm not wrong. And there is a migration guide mentioned, for every release, the cluster API guys publish this migration guide. So right now we are in like alpha, V1 alpha 4, and then next we need to move to V1 beta 1. So is this what you're trying to ask?
Yeah.
Okay. So Yeah, so this is the code. I mean, this is the basically the documentation what we need to follow in terms of supporting it or migration to the next version. So they have very detailed documentation, like what needs to be changed and then whatnot. So especially like some of these like KPIs and then whatnot, right? So we can go through this particular documentation. I think we are good to go. And then we also need the new set of APIs or directly created here. So that's like V1 beta 1 or whatever, right? So yeah, so that's something. Yeah, so it's in to-do list. Let me know in case someone is interested in. So we should really aim that going forward.
Okay.
Any other questions? Yeah, feel free to add your names here. Right. So I'll go over the backlog discussions. So yes, we do have plenty of open issues at the moment, which are not really assigned to anyone. Feel free to assign yourself in case if you want to work on. So there are a good amount of code or issues needs to be fixed, right? So feel free to do that. And yeah, this is as you're talking about, right? So this is something we need to, focus on adopting to the next version because community is moving really fast. So we need to just pick this up and then fix it. Otherwise, it is going to be really nightmare. Right? But yeah, of course, like we need to work on a lot of things like documentation. We need to fix it, and then we need to have some detailed testing also. So all right, so yeah, so anything or any particular issues you guys want to discuss other than these issues? All right, so that's about the issues I wanted to discuss. And then, yeah, so one question to Vento. So do you have your generic code ready for the masters branch or main branch?
Sorry, it's not ready yet. It wasn't ready yet, so I will try
Okay.
to make it happen in the following days.
Okay. I don't see the issue also. I'm not sure it got closed with something. We might need to.
Regarding to the version compatible from V1 Alpha 3 to V1 Alpha 4. So do we need to skip this step to align with V1 beta 1?
Yeah, so you mean you want to
Because
close
we
this? Is what
actually
you're
we
trying to
don't
say?
have user right now,
Yeah.
so is
Yeah.
this just still valid or we just skip it?
Yeah, so I think, yeah, that's the reason I just made it backlog. So yeah, I just wanted to talk to you folks and then get consensus. So I think we can close it. So I haven't seen anyone using alpha 3 at all. So I think we can just close it. So there's no point of burning energy here, is what I feel. So are you guys with me? Any concerns from anyone if I close this issue? All right, so I'll consider no, and then probably just close this issue. Well, thanks, Winto, for bringing that up. So, any other questions? And I also will say thanks to Karthik, who worked on fixing some of these linked issues. Our report is much better now. So if I go here, so I don't know why we just dropped from the 90+ percentage to 80 here for Go FMT. Something we should really look at it. Something needs to be fixed or whatever. So something needs to be assessed for sure. And there are a few issues here. I think I'll take a look at it. Right. So I think I still see some issues here. It's 90. It says 92%. Not sure if these are like false positive or we still need to fix them.
Yeah, maybe I will take a look at that one.
Yeah. So we'll look at these issues for sure. And then what else? So anything else from anyone? So before we close the call, so anything else anyone wants to discuss? All right, take that as no. Yeah, thanks for joining, folks. Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye.